to Croke Park. Now we begin with the all-Ulster clash of provincial champions Donegal and Armagh, who've been very impressive in the qualifiers. Commentary comes from Marty Morrissey.
The Ulster champions are back in Croke Park for their fourth successive quarter-final, and their team looks strong and well balanced. Carl Lacey is the main man at 6, with Frank McGlynn now at cornerback. Both Neil Gallagher and Oran McNeilish were excellent in the Ulster final, while Ryan McHugh, man of the match against Monaghan, transfers today from cornerback to left half forward. This is Armagh's 7th championship match and seem to be improving steadily. There are 5 Crossmaglen players on the starting 15, 3 of them in the attack, including top scorer Tony Kernan, who scored 21 points. There's one late change. Finny Moriarty starts at cornerback instead of James Morgan. This is the 26th championship clash, with Armagh winning 15 to Donegal 7. There have been 3 draws. Of the last 5 championship matches going back to 2005, Donegal have only won once. That was in the 2007 Ulster quarter-final, and that by just a point. Will it be the same today? Will that trend continue? First wide of the match is off the boot of Paddy McBrearty. Philip McAvoy goes for the short ball. Gets by the first challenge rather easily, Charlie Vernon. Mark Shields. Tony Kernan, 45 metres out. He hits a beauty. A wonderful score by Tony Kernan. Saw the opportunity here and said, well, here goes. Michael Murphy. Could still work out rather well here for Donegal. Should have been a defender's ball the first time. Look where Carl Lacey is. He's the centre half back and he's playing top of the right. There's a bit of afters going on as well. They're untangling themselves as we continue on with Stephen Campbell. There's a bit of after still going on. Kevin Dykes. Referee has had enough of this as players and officials get involved, and it's turning a bit unsavoury now, to say the least. And the doctor got a fair push from Aaron Findon. Discipline is quite appalling, and it is unsavoury that we reached an All-Ireland quarter-final stage, and this is what we have. Aaron Findon has been shown a yellow card by the referee. Tony Kernan. Good ball for Stephen Campbell. Thompson coming in to challenge. Back into the centre. Floating one in. Good work by Aaron Kernan. The call comes from outside, and the point is duly delivered. Aidan Forker with his 5th point of the championship and his first in this quarter-final. And you have to say right now that Armagh are playing superbly. .21.5 minutes played in this match. Donegal have only managed 1 score, and that from a free. Paddy McBrearty giving and indeed getting it back. Neil Gallagher. Fires Leo McClune. Again, excellent defending by Armagh so far. Neil Gallagher into space. Good ball for Anthony Thompson. Ryan McHugh is available, coming through the middle. It's the big number 9, Oran McNeilish. Oh, what a finish! When leadership and character was required, and Donegal were in deep, deep trouble in Croke Park, up stepped this man, Oran McNeilish, with an absolute cracker. The near post is where Philip McAvoy was beaten. He probably should have watched it a little bit better than this, but you cannot take away from the quality of the shooting of Oran McNeilish. Brilliant. Now the character and stamina and self-belief of Armagh is going to be tested. Jamie Clark, Stephen Campbell. Sign of a good team is when they can respond after conceding down at the other end. Armagh have just passed that particular test. A fantastic point by Stephen Campbell and a wonderful response to the goal by Oran McNeilish. Quality written all over this score. Aidan Forker. Kyle Carraher. Andy Mallon going through. Can he score? It's over the bar. Andy Mallon just had a little glimpse back just to make sure that the white flag was in fact being shown. Christy Toy. Ryan McHugh unmarked and available. Gone forward is Neil McGee. Jamie Clark on chasing after McGee, and McGee is the one that scores. Well, there's a turnaround for the Bucks. You think when Neil McGee is marking Jamie Clark, it's Clark that would be doing the scoring. Instead of that, Neil McGee goes forward and gets this point. This time, the loose ball is picked up by Armagh. It's a great play by centre-half forward Kevin Dias. Here's Carraher. The turn is good, the shooting is even better. This is a young, emerging Armagh side, and they've come to Croke Park not intimidated by the Ulster champions in the slightest. Anthony Thompson. Down the middle channel. Leo McClure. Michael Murphy spots Anthony Thompson, who has Frank McGlenn to his immediate left. Or McNeilish. Testing ball for the goalkeeper. It comes off his line. It's there for McFadden. What can he do? He can put it over the bar. Better, much better for Jim McGuinness's team. Ball came out for his McFadden. He put it over the bar. And the quality of the football has already improved in the second half. Tony Kernan sending one forward. He's available again to get the pass from Brian Mallon. Kernan is there, gone inside is Brian Mallon, but Kernan from a very difficult angle. Absolutely brilliant point by Tony Kernan. It's his third of the game and his second from play. 1 point between the teams. Long ball, up first Paddy McBurty. Grabs the loose ball and puts it between the posts. It's his first point in this All-Ireland quarter-final. He won the 50-50 ball and scored on the turn. Is it going to be their day? Look at the running of Aaron Kernan. Gave the ball, delivered, shimmied. A piece of magic from Aaron Kernan. It's his second point in the match, but it's a thing of beauty. Lovely little sidestep. He gave the ball initially, and the finish matched it all. Ethan Rafferty. 3 Donegal players around him. Wins the fray. Aaron Kernan. Stephen Harold. Well gathered. Ball is still available. Coming through is Tony Kernan. He could score from here. He really is playing well. It's his 4th point of the game. And the Armagh flags just blowing gently again. Armagh are not giving up. Ball down first, Rory Grugan. There's a chance here. Stephen Campbell gets a touch. It hits off the boot of Paul Durkin into the back of the net. Stephen Campbell will take the credit. And the Armagh fans are gone wild with jubilation and with joy. Watch this again. The cross for Stephen, he got a touch. It came off the post and the boot of Paul Durkin. Desperately unlucky, the Donegal keeper. But Stephen Campbell leapt it to the air, hit off the post, hit the boot of Durkin and rolled into the net. And Armagh are in this game very much so. So much so, they're now a point in front. 10 minutes left in this All-Ireland quarter-final. The script was simple. It was expected to be Donegal and Dublin. It may well be, but I wouldn't be betting on it right now. Neil Gallagher. Owen McNeilish coming forward. Is he the equaliser? He is. Every time Donegal needed a leader, it was this young man that stepped forward. Donegal won 10. Armagh won 10. Armagh are almost doing a Donegal in it. Retaining possession. Jamie Clark. Aaron Kernan. Looking for that good ball inside, and it's a quality one. There's a turn, there's a shot, there's a point. Great play by Armagh. He had the composure to turn onto his right and score. Michael Murphy. Better work by Neil McGee. Chance here of an equaliser. He puts it between the posts, and it's that man again, Michael Murphy. 1-11 Donegal, 1-11 Armagh. Great score. Under pressure. 68 minutes played. Who has the determination, the courage to produce the winner? Paddy McBrearty is going to have a go, and it's over the bar. There's confidence. Just 21 years of age. Paddy McBrearty gets the pass from Rory Kavanagh, and he puts Donegal back in front. Possession here now vital. It has to be Armagh's to have any chance. Ball is kicked away. They have a second chance, but it's a long, long way out. This time, Tony Kernan is taking the kick. The pressure is tangible. Here he comes. It's curling, it's dropping in. Can they get a touch? It's Neil Gallagher that has the ball. The referee has in fact blown the full-time whistle, and Donegal are in the All-Ireland football semi-final with just a point to spare. Armagh, well, they're a team for the future. It's Donegal in the All-Ireland semi-final. Full-time score, Donegal 1-12, Armagh 1-11.
We just wanted to come here and take the game to them, and we knew it would be a game of patience. Patience in the build-up and patience and composure when you hadn't got the ball, and that's the way it panned out.
There's by no means a vintage performance. We wouldn't be happy with a lot of facets of our game, but I suppose that's what this 3 weeks gives you. It gives you an opportunity to put the head down, to knuckle down, and again to keep to the process that we always stick with, which is trying to improve.
It took us quite a while to get going. Probably our decision making was one of the factors that was impacting on us, and some of the things that we're normally really good at, we weren't delivering them today to the level that we know we're capable of. So we've a lot to work on going into the semi-final, which is probably not a bad place to be in the lead into the semi-final, and we'll do that and we'll start that process on Tuesday night.
Yeah, an incredibly dramatic finish. Joe, did Donegal deserve to win it?
Well, there was a sort of a, when teams like this, formulaic teams who are playing a defensive system, Donegal's big advantage is that McGuinness invented this, and they've been doing it for 4 years. Armagh are only at it 10 weeks, a truly abysmal league campaign ending in relegation. And then very quickly they reorganise themselves with a double sweeper system. Confidence starts to flood in, and then their good players were able to perform. They did play very, very well throughout the championship, with the limitations that look, it's an ugly type of a game that they're playing. And I think that on the whole, Armagh probably have better players than Donegal, but Donegal have Michael Murphy. They're just more advanced than Armagh are. And, I mean, although the goal looked as though it might change the complexion of the game at the end, Donegal, I thought, stepped up a gear then and showed that bit of urgency that had been lacking in their play throughout. You know, and I think they will be better than that. They're going to need to be a hell of a lot better than that the next day.
Well, Kieran, it needed composure as well for when Donegal did step up at the end.
Yeah, it did, and it was a wake-up call there to a certain degree. They were probably comfortable. They were 3 points up, and you know, I think you alluded to earlier on that Michael Murphy missed a free, but they showed great character to kick 3 massive scores in that period. Armagh went a point ahead as a result of the goal.
Let's have a look at it.
And then they got an equaliser, and they went ahead a second time. But 3 great scores. As I said, they upped their game. Great vision here from Neil Gallagher, who had a great game in the middle of the park, particularly in the second half. Picks out Oran McNeilis, who has the hand out. He's pointing towards the space. He says, just stick it in there, and it opens up the defence. And Oran McNeilis, you know, his shot selection wasn't great all day. He had a few wild ones, but he got a crucial score when it mattered most. This is top class Murphy. You know, he played out around the middle and inside in both halves, but he takes it and he just drives forward. Nobody tracks him. Frank McGlynn, hugely influential as well in that second period, and a super score off his left foot just to put them ahead. And I think they show great composure here. This is where you don't want somebody to rush a shot. You want to get it to the shooter that has time. Don't be pressurised. And McBrearty steps up to kick the winner. So overall, I think they showed their experience in that last 5-10 minutes. I don't think it was a convincing performance by a long shot. I think they've a lot of work to do ahead of the semi-final. I thought Armagh were impressive. They had a period of 20-25 minutes at the start of the game where they should have got a lot more scores. They should have made hay in that period. Donegal stuck with them. They got a goal against the run of play. Their shot selection was poor at times, and you know, particularly in the second half, they took a lot of wild shots. So they have a lot of work to do.
One other point you picked up on, Kieran, was that we saw Gallagher's pass there. You felt that at times Armagh's final pass let them down a bit.
It let them down, but this is a difficult one, Des, because you know, when you play against Donegal, you know that you can't. You want to use the kick pass. They use it very effectively against Meath, but when you put a ball in like that, you know Donegal are going to have bodies sweeping back. Your kick pass has to be spot on. You have to know that it's going to reach its target, and it's just that final pass. And their build-up play was patient. They were being patient, and then they just it's not a bad ball, but it has to be right on the money. And once a hand gets in there, it's going to spill out, and Donegal are going to pick it up. And it happened, you know, on 3 or 4 occasions where they lost key possessions when they were after being very, very patient and they were working it back and forth. You know, here's a ball, Aaron Kieran again. You know, it's high, it's 50-50. It's going to be one out. We finish, I suppose, on a positive because I suppose they're trying to do the right thing. I can see the logic in it, but when you're playing against Donegal, you're just going to get suffocated. But this is where you can maybe get at Donegal. Now, Aaron Kieran has too much time, no pressure on the kick. He looks up, a great ball in. This time you have a second Armagh player in support, and they get a great score from it, from young Murray that came off the bench. So, all in all, I just felt that let them down a small bit. When they ran the ball and they retained possession, it was a lot more effective for them.
There's another difference, which is that because Donegal have been doing this so religiously over 4 years, it's in their DNA now. So, you know, when it comes to the crunch time in the game, they'll just naturally continue to do that. They're used to playing in a suffocating environment and training. So you saw that at the end, whenever Armagh were flooding everybody back, that Donegal at that stage had absolute composure to get those 2 scores. Because, I mean, and I think the big message that comes out from this is that, you know, what's starting to happen in general is that coaches are saying, look, we can compete if we operate a blanket defence. We can do this. I mean, Armagh humiliated in the league, a laughingstock last season. In the space of 10 weeks with a double sweeper system, 2 half-forwards playing in their defence, they've restored their confidence. They're within a point of an All-Ireland semi-final. Look at the 3 teams that came out of Ulster this year. Donegal, the inventors of this system. Monaghan, the copiers of the system, sort of Donegal light, if you like. And Armagh. And other teams in Ulster. I mean, Tyrone, for 4 years, they've been beaten by 3 times by Donegal, once by Monaghan, by this ultra-defensive system. And the message that goes out is, look, this works.
One of the key things for Armagh that they showed a little bit of inexperience was when they got the goal, 15 men retreated back in. They had 7 minutes to go, and they went very, very defensive. They didn't play. They were like as if they were closing out the game each time they went a point up, and they nearly invited Donegal onto them. And that's just experience. They've come a hell of a long way. They've been one of the teams of the championship.
Well, given Donegal's defensive nature, Joe, obviously they need to be, as Kieran said, accurate with the ball in, etc. Colin McFadden, you think, is crucial to their future going into the match against Dublin?
Look, Donegal's empire was built on McGuinness's sort of genius, the way that he was able to persuade his players, the way that he was able to motivate them to play this system, to become robotic. And, you know, so Michael Murphy went from scoring 1-6 a game and Donegal being thrashed under previous managers to all of a sudden maybe scoring a point a game. And McFadden had a perfect season in 2012. You know, McGuinness concentrated on him. You know, and by this stage, by the quarter-final stage in 2012, McFadden had 322. By this stage yesterday, after the game yesterday, he's got 9 points. And
his confidence low.
He's gone to the dogs, and it's a big problem because the Empire's built on Murphy and McFadden up front. You know, McBrearty's contributions are inconsistent. So with McFadden having a perfect season in 2012, Donegal just about got there. Fantastic triumph. Now, he's struggling, and he's coming in against the Dubs in a game where Donegal need everything to be absolutely right, because Donegal defend well.
Yes.
And they are extremely difficult to penetrate.
But Michael Murphy's coming out. Is that a factor? You know, Michael Murphy's coming way deeper than he did in that.
Michael always did that.
As far back as he's going this year.
Michael yoked himself to the plough like everyone else. I mean, Michael's
he's scoring far less as well.
He's scoring far less, Joe. He's not getting on the end. He's not getting on the end of scores.
In 2012, until the All-Ireland final, Michael Murphy had 2 points from playing the whole championship. Until the All-Ireland final. So, you know, Michael has been playing this way, but the big dividend for Donegal has been McFadden, because his economy has been breathtaking. 2012, I mean, he was a hair's breadth from being the Player of the Year. Now, in the twilight of his career, it's not happening for him, and it's been a consistent vein of form throughout the season.
Is he capable of doing it on a big day, say, in the semi-final?
I'm not sure that he is.
You know,
I think it is becoming more and more difficult.
You know, he's coming to the end of his career. Not writing him off, he could step up to the mark, but I don't know whether it's very, very difficult to get that momentum back. When you have momentum coming through a championship, coming through August, and your confidence is high, it's very hard to rediscover that.
Take us through Donegal's counter-attack, because that's what, as you said, the game is based on.
I thought yesterday, Des, they were very conservative in the first half. They always are conservative in the first half, but I wonder, are Donegal gone back in terms of it's the first phase that's very good, the defensive. I don't know whether they're as good offensively. Here they have the ball and there's 8 or 9 guys ahead of the play. They're ahead of the play and they're renowned for getting forward and supporting the attack. And Paddy McGrath comes out here and he's very, very isolated. Now, normally you would expect, you know, Armagh have come back and reset. There's no runners coming through. There's no one coming through the sport. They left the players very, very isolated. You know, we run it on a bit. Still nobody has come. Michael Murphy's going down a blind avenue there. He has to turn back. And it's an aspect of their game that I thought was missing in the first half. And really looking upon this in terms of facing Dublin. When they were effective in 2012, the runners from deep, the Ryan McHughes, the Carl Lacey's, the Frank McGlynn's, they always got forward. Now, credit to Donegal, they did get forward in the second half, they pushed forward, but a lot of the play was slow and lateral and cross. There's another example in the first half where they just had no support going forward. They did push it in the second half, but I just thought it was slow, it was lateral. I accept that the Armagh defence, the blanket defence, it is going to make it slower. But I just wonder, is that bit of pace, is that bit of injection of pace that was there 2 years ago, is it there in the legs? And it's going to have to be there if they're going to tackle Dublin.
Well, I think in the Ulster final against Monaghan, you know, where they had that challenge and they were fully motivated for it. They did look a bit like their old selves. I mean, Carl Lacey's not at the level he was. And I still say that the big problem is that Donegal depended on being able to say, look, we can rely on McFadden, we can knock a ball in there under pressure and he'll get his hands to it and he'll swing it over from 50 yards, he'll drop off, he'll hand pass it out to him, he'll pop it over the bar, he'll get 3 of those a game, and if he gets a goal chance, it's going in the net. They don't have that any longer. And I think that against Armagh, mentally, Donegal would have thought, well, look, we'll handle Armagh. You know, the big game is the semi-final. Since January, Donegal have worked, make no mistake about it, they have worked on beating Dublin.
Yeah.
That's the game plan.
Well, we're going to chat about that.
It's to beat the Dubs. Now, I know that after yesterday, people are saying, oh, Jesus. You know, I mean, Monaghan was supposed to be Dublin's big dress rehearsal. This is the blanket defence to get you ready for the big blanket. I mean, it was such a casual demolition that
this game is not going to. It's not going to. The Dublin Donegal semi-final is not going to mirror the one 2 years ago.
No, well,
obviously it won't. This is a different Dublin team.
We'll chat about that in a minute after we see the Dublin Monaghan match. The other big talking point, Joe and I had a big disagreement yesterday about Aaron Finden's yellow card. We can see it here now, and this was a push on the Donegal doctor. Now, I thought it shouldn't have happened at all. Joe, you thought we were making a lot of it. but I'm told that Findon made contact with Donegal today. They'll see it here now. I mean, it shouldn't happen, Joe.
Look, hold on a second. Here's the thing. See this politically correct moral outrage. First of all, hold on.
He's a doctor.
Hold on, let me finish it. This isn't Mother Teresa, coming out into a war zone waving a white flag. He runs out onto the field. He gets involved in a pushing and shoving.
He ran on because Carl Lacey was on the ground.
No, come on. He wasn't tending to an injured player. Watch him. They're pulling and pushing.
Well, because Carl Lacey's surrounded.
Let me suggest this to you. In a rugby match, if boys are pushing and pulling, the team doctor does not go out and get involved in a pushing and shoving.
In a rugby match, the team doctor will not get pushed
hold
to
on.
the ground.
You're making a big fuss about nothing.
Two wrongs don't make a right, right? First of all, he shouldn't have done it. It is a red card offence. He got away with a yellow. It is a red card offence to push an official, right? But he shouldn't have been out there. He shouldn't put his hand on the players either. So it's two wrongs. Both of them were out of order. It shouldn't have happened, But
you shouldn't really be showing this because it's a big fuss about nothing. It doesn't amount to
you can't dismiss it. That's the point I was making yesterday.
It was a push and
red card offence.
The guy was pushed over.
It's a red card offence. If you assault an opposing official, it's a red card offence.
So he's older. You can see he's not one of the players. But look, we'll resolve that. The more important thing, I think, is Donegal say they don't have an issue with it. Findon made contact there. So, as Joe says, that's the end of that. We're going to discuss it during the break. But Monaghan take on the All-Ireland champions next. They're playing Dublin. We're back after these.
Well, there were two changes on the Dublin team from their Leinster final win over Meath. Johnny Cooper is over his quad injury. He starts at centre-back. Nicky Devereaux shifts out to the left wing. Owen O'Gara is back in at full forward for the Leinster and All-Ireland champions. There are 4 late changes on the Monaghan team. Ryan Wiley replaces Conor Boyle at cornerback. Also losing out Paddy McKenna, Paul Finlay and Thomas Kerr, with Kieran Duffy and Stephen Gollagly coming into the half-forward line, and Padraig Donaghy is in at right corner forward. Donegal waiting in the All-Ireland semi-final. Will it be Dublin? Will it be Monaghan, who haven't been to the last 4 since 1988? Dublin have won their last 4 All-Ireland quarter-finals, and Desi Moan is attacking straight away and now bringing Padraig Donaghy in, a late addition to the Monaghan team. Johnny Cooper is there with him. Stephen Gollagly wearing number 22. Well, he's happy to hang on to the ball. Dick Clerkin forms a very interesting midfield partnership with Darren Hughes. Vinnie Corey. Monaghan keeping the ball, and Dublin happy to funnel players back to try and protect their defence, but Monaghan being precise. Here's Darren Hughes, and the handling just lets them down, and it's Paul Flynn who's back there working hard for Dublin as Philly McMahon launches the clearance forward, and now it's with Kevin McMenamin cementing a place in the starting team, and the referee spotted a foul in close to the Monaghan goal against Colin Walsh before the ball arrived, fouling Bernard Brogan, and a chance for Bernard Brogan to give Dublin the lead in the second minute, and he has done precisely that. Gift of a free from the Monaghan full-back line. Well, just 2 scorers on either team, Bernard Brogan and Kieran Hughes. Kevin McMenamin with Desi Moan trying to run, and then Stephen Gollagly, who's back in that defence, is there helping out, and Kevin McMenamin has got a free in. Monaghan really defending intensely. Several players have had trouble with their footing this evening on the greasy Croke Park pitch. And he's got that one, Dermot Connolly. 3 points, all frees, Dublin by 3-2 as we head towards the end of the first quarter of this match. Kieran Hughes. Dublin being frustrated, Monaghan playing super football. Vinnie Corey. Well, Dublin have their defence back in position. Conor McMahon has been forced out wide again, trying to draw it in, and he's done that. That's a super point. First point from play in this All-Ireland quarter-final after 19 and a half minutes, and Monaghan draw level with Dublin. It's 3 each. Declan Darcy alongside Jim Gavin, electing to watch the first half in the stand, as is pretty normal with him. Nicky Devereaux, Owen O'Gara.
Diarmuid Connolly is fired up and Connolly's got away. Connolly through, goal! That's their first score from play with 10 minutes to go to half-time. Monaghan switched off for the first time in the game, and against a team like this, you can't afford to do it, even for half a second. Wonderful finish from Connolly. He's back in top form. And Monaghan, well, they needed a clean sheet today. Dublin through for goal number 1. It's their first score from play. 1-3 to 3. 10 minutes to half-time. Darren Hughes at the fist. Dublin taking over in their half-back line. James McCarthy. Alan Brogan. McCarthy wants it and gets it again. From Ballymun Kickhams, taking Padraig Donaghy there with him. McCarthy through to Bernard Brogan, they're in again. Brogan's second goal of the championship. And Dublin have found their feet in this All-Ireland quarter-final. 2 goals in the space of 2.5 minutes, and Monaghan are in big trouble. The 2 Dublin goals, their only scores from play in this quarter-final. 2-4 to 3. Alan Brogan dropping in, Johnny Cooper staying involved in the attack. It's been a devastating 10-minute spell for Dublin, and it continues with Alan Brogan getting their first point from play in the 30th minute. When has that last happened with this Dublin team? But that is a corker from Alan Brogan. Johnny Cooper, 1 point already, a goal and a point for Diarmuid Connolly. Now it's Nicky Devereux. The handling crisp. Now Owen O'Gara's got away from Wiley. O'Gara gets a point. He's such an improved player over the last 12, 18 months. Physically imposing, goal threat all the time, but can kick points from all over the place as well. Paul Finlay has come on for Monaghan, replacing Padraig Donaghy. They have such a huge task ahead of them. How will they approach the second half? The defensive system has not worked. Trailing by 9 points. Will they keep it the same? Or if they have a go at Dublin and push up, they leave gaps all over the place, which these guys are only too capable of exploiting. Here's Alan Brogan. Owen O'Gara got a good point in the first half and was also booked. Now it's Kevin McManaman away from Drew Wiley. Bernard Brogan, the handling is superb from Dublin, and the point not bad either. That's a wonderful score. Just teasing the Monaghan defence, and that's come inside the first 48 seconds. Kevin McManaman opening his account. Beautiful point, great team score. James McCarthy, Paul Flynn, great score. And the neutrals wanted Monaghan to make a big start to the second half, but it's Dublin who've got into this familiar habit of a third quarter surge. Michael Darragh McCauley, now it's Owen O'Gara. The Monaghan defensive system just appears to have shut down. Nobody's putting any pressure on the Dublin forwards, it seems. The handling is just too quick, the speed of thought too quick, and Owen O'Gara has his second point. Fintan Kelly, Nicky Devereux there with him. Now Darren Hughes. Goal is what they're after. Goals are what they need. Dick Clerkin will take a point though, his second of the match. That's a nice score for Dick Clerkin and for Monaghan, their third of the second half. A lot of work to do, but that was better, certainly. Dick Clerkin, they're in bother now, and Clerkin just holding on to the ankles, it appeared, of Michael Darragh McCauley. Referee happy to let play develop, and they've switched off again. Here's Cormac Costello, wide. But Bernard Brogan was free to his left. There was another man, Owen O'Gara, free to his right. Costello backed himself, and with players in better positions, they should have had goal number 3. Dean Rock, 20 minutes to go. That's a side he's scored from many, many times for this team. And he's done it again, Dean Rock. Fine point. Mick Fitzsimons with a good block. James McCarthy. Dean Rock. Flynn. Last 4 minutes. 2:23 has been their average. Paul Mannion trying to make a point to Jim Gavin, trying to get back into this starting 15. Here's Cormac Costello. He can't get into it either. And that is a lovely point. And what a year he's had. And he hasn't been able to get into the first 15. Biggest crowd of the year here today. There will be bigger. And it'll be close to full when Dublin play Donegal at the end of the month. Monaghan, well, the exertions of last Saturday took their toll, but Dublin far superior, and they march on to play Donegal in the All-Ireland semi-final. Dublin 2-22, Monaghan 11 points.
Dublin's that type of team, you know, when they get their tails up, they're very strong physically all over the field, they've great teamwork, they're very powerful. We just find it very hard to cope with it.
Monaghan are a really good team. We've played, a lot of us have played with them in Sigerson football, so we didn't expect anything more than a really tough game, and I suppose that's what kicked us on.
There's a lot of tired bodies there and fatigued minds. There was a serious shift put in, and we had to approach the game that way. It took us a long time to break Monaghan down, and the 7-day twist for them, in hindsight, probably didn't help them.
Yeah, Joe, a lot of praise from Monaghan there. What are you laughing at?
Ah, come on. I mean, they so casually blew them away. I mean, come on, I mean, you think Jim Gavin actually means that? Come on, let's get real. It was a perfect storm. The Dubs are fresh, they're relentless, they're enjoying their work now. They're playing for the sake of it. The chemistry of the team's brilliant. And their power, their pace. I mean, people expected yesterday that at least Monaghan would glue them up. And they did, I suppose, for 25 minutes, 3-3, without doing particularly much. But what was happening was increasingly they were just getting hemmed in because Dublin played that full-court press. And it was the perfect storm. And, 14 sprinters outfield, also powerful, gets them out of trouble. They have a beautiful system of play. They're adventurous. And, I mean, really, it was such a casual demolition that people were saying in Croke, people were looking at each other and saying, like, this is a golden years in the offing. I mean, this is something different than anything we've experienced before. I would say that their scores thus far, I mean, I haven't checked this, but I would say that their scores thus far in the championship must constitute some sort of a record. I mean, you'd think it was the Dublin hurling team.
222 is the average score.
222 in championship. Yeah. I mean, I think that.
And 20 different scorers, Joe, which is probably unique, isn't it, in the football championship?
It's a huge spread.
Yeah. Kieran, you're saying their game is evolving all the time.
Yeah, it is, and I think they've added to it. Last year, Jim Gavin came in and he set out the stall to play attacking football, and we were always concerned that they were leaving themselves exposed a little at the back. The last two games, Dublin haven't come near to conceding a goal, and they're getting bodies back effectively. That middle eight is moving very effectively, like Flynn, Connolly, Johnny Cooper moved up and down the pitch yesterday, pushed up in the sweep when necessary. But here it is, when they win the ball, 2 kicks straight up. McManaman, 1 solo, again in the full forward line. Bernard wins a free. So I think they've added to their game. Joe's going to show how they press the full back line as well. But I thought this was the most impressive aspect for me. Their hunger, desire was there, their physicality in the tackle, but most of all, they pressurised Monaghan. They didn't give them any easy chances. They got bodies back and got in their faces. So I think they've added to their game compared to last year, and it makes them a different proposition, particularly when they're moving in to play the likes of Donegal.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a brilliant philosophy, and it's it's the sort of game the boys want to play. Dubs are playing with enjoyment and vigour, and
but you can't adapt to that style, Joe, can you? The way you were saying, you can adapt to the mass defence.
But it's transition. It's transition. They can get back and they can get forward. They're very effective.
At club football, Crossmaglen have been doing this for years. And it's man-to-man, high pressure up the field. The reason that Dublin, I mean, people think, well, look, Dublin's 2 fullbacks are sitting there isolated against the 2 full forwards. The problem is that when the cornerback gets the ball, his man's in his face tackling furiously. And the Dublin forwards are all very quick, and they know that if they're not tackling and they're not playing at the very top of their game with absolute urgency, you know, there's plenty of boys there to come on. So you've got this urgency all over the field, and so it's very difficult. Defences are getting dispirited against them. I mean, Monaghan's blanket defence yesterday. Now, in fairness, Monaghan were afraid of the Dubs, and you could see that in their body language from an early stage. They hadn't played this Dublin team before. There was a mistake. Monaghan haven't been going well. A 1-point victory over Kildare doesn't augur well 7 days earlier. So they were sitting ducks for the Dubs, and I mean, after the first goal, the game was over. So I mean, the scoreline was a bit lopsided because Monaghan themselves knew the game was over then. But
take us through that, Kieran. That game was killed off inside a couple of minutes.
4-minute blitz.